From high school seniors to adults looking for a career change, Malcolm X College is the place for you. Visit us on the web at malcolmx.ccc.edu.
Eugene Pincham taught us a very important lesson. He said, you can't be what you can't see. You can't be what you can't see. That's a profound lesson. So if all you see is drug dealing, if all you see is wife beating, if all you see is negativity, what is it that you will possibly be? It's very, very difficult for you to go outside of that box that you've been living in, that you've been seeing. So all that we're learning at Karnak is for us to take in, to ingest, and to begin to assimilate that into our very being, so that we go out and everyone we meet, everyone we see, and everyone that sees us, see this strong, important individual who's walking with their head up, with no fear, and is pushing the positive all the time. That's what we've got to do, push the positive all the time. I'm so proud of Karnak, I don't know what to do. I really am. I talk about it everywhere I go. And it's growing, and it's going to keep growing. This is for the community. I see so many of our children here. It's for the family. This is the next generation, folks, and we've got to impact these youth. Every one of these seminars is for the youth and the family. So understand what Karnak is about. It's about us changing the conditions, the environment, the social milieu of our community. But for now, let's get our hearts together, our energy together, and let's give him a lot of energy. He doesn't need it because he's a true soldier. He's committed. He's committed. I told the story at the ribbon cutting of Karnak, how I met him through one of our Professor Emeritus, Pat Williams. And I met him only because she said he was working with some youth and doing a lot of anger management and conflict resolution with our youth. And that gave me a lot of interest in wanting to meet this man. It's a very important man. He has a mission that was on before I met him. And now I'm just glad to be a part of his mission. Please, let's welcome to the stage Brother Dr. Leonard Ingram.
This is a huge topic, anger management, because it addresses every aspect. Exhaust the topic today, but the purpose today is to make an argument, to make a case for the necessity of our turning some attention to this subject. Violence, and it's an epidemic not just in our community. We live in a violent age, according to Hindu mythology and the mythologies of many non-Western cultures. This is a dark time that we live in. In the Hindu mythology, they call it the Kali Yuga. A dark time when compassion, love, and kindness is at its lowest ebb. But time is cyclistic, not linear, and so it will not always be so dark. The Kali Yuga is followed by a golden age, and the signs of a golden age is always reflected in a shift in the gestalt of the people living at that time during this Kali Yuga. When violence has become too much, and how many of you are just sick and tired of all this violence? This senseless killing and slaughtering that is going on, not just in our community, all over the world. And whenever we as a collective become sick and tired of this violence, then this Kali Yuga start moving back toward a golden age. We talked a lot about violence and all of the forms that it takes in our community, in our families, in our schools, and so forth and so on. But I want you to note that all violence has its ground in anger. So we're going to talk about anger here today, all right? So we're small, so that means we can be a little interactive. And hopefully we will come away from today's workshop with a commitment to do our respective parts and play our respective role and tapping down some of this anger. First with ourselves, and then with those whom we are in intimate relationship with. So you can't talk about the intervention of violence without necessarily talking about the ground from which violence has its origin. Violence is not an emotion, it's a behavior. It's something that you do out of an emotional condition. And that condition is anger. And even though we're going to be talking a lot about anger management, I don't want to give you a wrong impression. I'm not advocating to you that you somehow or another completely eliminate your ability to get angry. Anger is a legitimate aspect of our human nature and human behavior. Otherwise, none of us would have been endowed with the capacity for it. Anger is nature's way of empowering us to protect ourselves from a perceived threat. And in that sense, anger has a very legitimate function. You see, anger is energy. It is energy. It is the energy that produces motion, hence the term emotion, okay? So you need that energy. That energy is useful. It's like fire, right? Fire has a legitimate function, right? It can do good things. Fire was the mother of all technology, wasn't it? If no one discovered fire, we wouldn't have technology. We wouldn't have a lot of things today. In the same way, anger is like fire. It has its value. You can take your anger and you can come up out of slavery with it. You can use your anger to put an end to discrimination. You can use your anger to win a football game, a basketball game. You can use that energy to get you through college when you have almost no help doing so. So anger energy is the energy that also can take the form of motivation. It can take the form of what we call kukuru. Kukuru. Kukuru is a Japanese word. The literal translation is heart. Heart. The indomitable will to succeed. Heart. The inner determination to succeed. That energy that gives a person kukuru is the same energy, but harnessed and put to a positive use. So your anger can be used negatively or positively. That's the point I want to make here tonight, okay? Whether or not you would do so would depend upon your level of emotional intelligence. We used to think that the IQ was the single greatest predictor of a person's possible success in life. Well, we know that's not true. Hasn't been true for the last 30 years. Hasn't trickled down. The real key to life and the success that all of us are seeking is our emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to control and manage your emotions. fundamentally, most people are emotionally illiterate. We have PhDs, several of them, but yet we have no control over our own emotions and the behavior that emotions produce. So anger management is a part of a curricular purpose to cultivate emotional intelligence in us as well. And that's the one thing, you see, that distinguished the ancestors in their ability to create great civilization. They were able to create great civilization because fundamentally they were civil. Please make a note. You can't have civilization among a group of people who are not civil. Follow my argument? And that starts with the nuclear relationship. If there's no civility between a man and a woman, there's not going to be any civility in the family unit. If there's no civility in the family unit, then the collective, and so forth and so on. Are you following my argument? Yes. Civility, you see. And civility requires your ability to manage your anger, you see. Not disappear it, manage it, to reconstruct it, to use it in a way that has a positive outcome. So you can determine whether or not you have an anger management problem very simply. You simply look at what has been the outcome of what you do with your anger. Has that outcome been in your best interest? Consider it. Consider it. You get angry at your husband or your wife, and what you do with your anger results in a divorce. You think you got an anger management problem? Yeah, you probably do, you see. So you want to look at the outcome of what you're doing with your anger to determine whether you using anger for its legitimate purpose. Remember, anger is nature's way of empowering us to take an action, the outcome of which is in our best interests, okay? To protect us from a threat. The problem is this, beloved, is that most of our anger is not being used for the purpose for which we've been endowed with that capacity for it in the first place. You get angry enough to kill somebody just because they looked at you the wrong way. That's people looking at you is no threat to your survival, is it? No. It's a threat to your ego, perhaps, but not to your survival. So it is this kind of neurotic, maladaptive behavior that arises out of our ego that is the problem. So to manage your anger, you will necessarily have to manage your ego, and we're going to unfold that a little bit. Now, I've already said that we're not going to be able to exhaust this topic. We're going to have 5 more series that will be available before Karnak on these upcoming Saturdays so that we can focus in detail in the various areas where you will be challenged now to bring your own level of civility to another level. Do this make sense to you? Yes. Okay? So you don't have to be quiet in my workshops. You're even permitted to sleep. Just don't fight, okay? No fighting. But everything else goes. Anger, managing your anger is part of the curricula for becoming a first-class human being as well. And so it is necessary in a practical sense. It's necessary for us psychologically, and it's definitely necessary if you are interested in reaching your fullest spiritual potential, because you can't be spiritual and yet be unable to manage your anger. That does not happen, okay? So we've been talking a little bit now about anger, so now let's get into it. What is anger? And why do you get angry in the first place? Consider that. It's not a rhetorical question. I want answers. What is anger? Yes, beloved.
Well, you spoke of it being energy. I always looked at it as an emotion or a feeling, rather, a feeling that I definitely dislike.
Okay.
It's, sometimes even painful to me. So
Okay, that's a beginning. So we know it's a feeling. You feel angry. You feel it. You feel it at the level of your body. You feel it at the level of your mind, and you feel it at the level of your soul if you have one. Is that about right? Anger affects you across the entire spectrum of your being, right? And that effect is almost never pleasant, is what you said. So that's tell us how anger impacts the body mind. We still have not yet addressed the psychodynamics of anger, the mechanism underneath that anger, what happens before you even get angry in the first place. We'll get into that, but since you have brought this to the audience's attention, we might as well look at a little bit of this here. Now, I'm going to try to save most of our time to really get into a little bit of the anger management process, so I'm not going to exhaust the theory, okay? I don't want to gloss this. This is card knock. We don't gloss here. We have made a situation available to you where you can come on these next successive Saturdays, and we will really get into the details of it. Today, I am simply here to make an argument and a case for the necessity for learning how to manage this very powerful yet very dangerous emotion. And dangerous because, one, of its impact on the body. Anybody in here been angry recently? Anybody in here angry now? Okay, good, good. So we safe for an hour, all right? Okay. So what is, in general, let's consider what are some of the impacts that anger has on the body? Yes, dear.
Rapid heart rate.
Okay, so, right, your heartbeat increases fourfold because, again, the function of anger is to bring the physical body to an optimum level of readiness to take an act in your own defense. In order to do that, the heart beats up, right? It speeds up the system, right? Pumps more blood, right? Not to your brain, but to your defensive system, your fists and muscles and so forth and so on. So if you are in bad health or eating a lot of the wrong food and you mess around and get angry, you might have a what? Right. Kill your damn self, right? Yeah. So yes, the heart rate increases fourfold. What are some of the other pretty obvious effects? Yes, sir, in the yellow. Just stand when you, so Alonzo can get your handsome face.
You bottle everything up.
You hold it in. That's a form of management of anger, mismanagement of it. But I want to know how the anger impacts that body. Okay, because what you're saying is, and we're going to talk about that too, that's your emotional style. See, we all have an emotional style of how we handle certain strong emotions. Some people, when they get angry, they suppress it. We'll get to that a little later, so you're ahead of the presentations, but good insight. Tell me how anger impacts you in the body. What happens in the body? Please stand.
Yeah, I can say another one, trembling, sweating.
Trembling, sweating, tension, right. Because this brain of ours, right, you see it has a hypothalamus in it. The hypothalamus converts all emotions into neurotransmitters. The brain makes drugs, and one of the drugs that it floods the body with when there's danger is adrenaline, right? And so forth and so on. And that's what you're feeling. You get all tense, right? Trembling. Right? Adrenaline running in you. Yeah. And how does that feel? Does that feel good? No. No. So yes, so there's a lot of tension, stress. What are some of the other effects?
It affects your body language and your facial expression.
Oh yeah, those are the symptoms that show us when you're angry, right? You may grit your teeth. You know, your eyes get beady and turn red, and little red beams of light comes out, right? Yes. So that's what tension is. You know, you may feel your tension in your teeth, you may grip, but you're feeling some level of tension in your stomach and so forth and so on. So yes, it'll show up in those signs. I need somebody that's really good at being angry to give some examples. I know somebody in here is really good at this here. There you go. Yes, Janice, beloved.
You begin to yell and curse.
Okay, well, that's how you act it out. We're going to talk about that again. I want to know just for a minute here how it affects your body. Yes, beloved. We got rapid heart rate. I should put that. Yes, and not in the sexy sense of the word either. Right? You get hot. When people say, I'm hot now, I'm good and hot. Literally, you're hot. Because again, part of the process of bringing any system to an optimum level involves heat. You see, these are the laws of thermodynamics, the same laws that govern thermodynamics in any other context. Your body is a part of that same principle. So the heat in the body goes up. That's how you speed up a process. You have to heat up a process in the body to speed that process up. So you get hot, right? And sometimes you get so hot you faint. But yeah, your temperature goes up. You way past that normal state of temperature that most bodies must persist as. What else happened? And think about what happened to your body. See, this is the thing you got to know. Yes, beloved, please stand. Feel like you got a lot of energy. Well, that's that tension. That's that trembling, right? Yes, so that's that. And you do have a lot of energy because, again, that's what nature does with anger. Anger is energy. The two angry people in the back, please stand. Okay, your shoulders begin to ache, right? You get all kinds of bodily pains because your emotions, and that is determined by your emotional style. We're going to get to that in a minute. If your emotional style is to suppress your anger, you're going to put it in your body somewhere. The body holds the emotions that you don't manage correctly. And this is very, very special for women because your bodies, that's delicate equipment. That's some fine equipment there. It's not designed by nature to handle all that stress. More about that as we go further in our journey into the wisdom of your own anger. Yes, Everett?
I would say it breaks down the immune system.
Ah, that's my nephew. Give him a hand. Stand up. Stand up and give him a hand. Right. When your body is not designed to be in a high state of anger for more than 6 minutes, make a note. After 6 minutes of rage, it will take your body 6 hours for your immunity system to reboot. During that window of 6 hours, you're subject to all kinds of virus, bacteria, so forth and so on. So a lot of the sickness that people have, they made themselves sick because they've been carrying around too much anger. And they way past 6 minutes. I know a lot of you in here personally are way past 6 minutes, okay? But yeah, it shuts down your immunity system. You see, it shuts it down. Makes sense though. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say anxiety and chest pain, it brings on chest pain.
Yeah, because that heart is pumping, boom, 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 right? And if your artery is all clotted, you know, with barbecue sauce and so forth and so on, you're gonna need a bypass if you keep messing around with it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yes, ma'am.
Your hands sweat.
Your hands sweat. Again, that's the heat in the body. You're hot. Your head is sweating. You see, you're literally hot. Yes, sir.
Building up of aggravation before reactive.
Building up aggravation, that's more on the mental side. So maybe we'll go to the mental side. Do anybody have any more that we can list here? And this is not all of them, but you're getting an idea. Did you want to add to it?
High blood pressure and many diseases like diabetes, asthma, a lot of diseases are attributed to anger.
Yes, yes, yes. You're absolutely right because the heart is pumping faster. That means the blood is moving faster, going through them vessels that are in bad shape. You're going to mess around and have a stroke or an aneurysm, aren't you? So you got to be in good shape to get angry, okay? So get y'all, come. We got a nice gym down here, too, and you have access to it by virtue of being part of Karnak, okay? Last one, Pal, and then Alonzo. Go. Stand up so we can hear you. You start looking hard and harsh. Yes. It makes anger can make you ugly, literally. It not only makes your behavior ugly, it literally makes you ugly, unless you had genetic predisposition to be ugly, like most of us, you see. Alonzo Sá.
I think anger ages your body prematurely.
That's something that you were saying. Sure, because it takes its toll. You're not designed to operate at that high level of readiness. The body's not designed for that. So for instance, now we're going to look a little bit more at the mind, but here I just want to put a little bit under this emotional styles. First, when you feel yourself becoming angry and you don't manage it, do that anger subside or does it increase? What say you? Right, it increases. You're angry at somebody. You don't do anything to relieve yourself of that anger, to get that out of your mind. Now that anger escalates to hate. Now you hate him or hate her. It's mostly hate him. And if that anger is not managed at this point in this cycle, it escalates more. Now it turns evil. You know, when you look at him, he can feel your evil eyes. You know? You see, you're in bed, you got a little dog made in his image. Right? You're evil. You see? You all remember that song by Howlin' Wolf, Evil. And that becomes your name. And if you don't manage it at this point in this escalation, it turns into rage. Now you done went crazy. Now you done went insane. Now you are what you call, I'm really mad. But mad in a clinical sense of the word. Mad as in crazy, insane. All of your education shut down. All of your religion shut down. All of those things that distinguished you from an animal is gone. And now you pit bull. You see? Rage is the basis of violence. Please make a note. Now, if you don't manage your anger in those early stages, you see, if your style of dealing with your anger is maladaptive and ineffective, you're going to hit rage, and you're going to do something violent. You're going to explode on someone, or you're going to implode on yourself. We're going to talk about that a little later, okay? Feeling me? Yes. This is serious business, you see, because what you do with your anger is going to determine the quality of your life. Because you can't be angry and happy simultaneously. That's not going to happen. What does your anger make you feel like doing? Hurting somebody. That's its function, right? To empower you to destroy what you perceive as a threat to your fundamental sense of well-being, physical, emotional, etc., right? It is the destructive emotion. And in that state of mind, you are not happy. And in that state of mind, you will not be loving. So let's turn our attention briefly. And I'm, again, apologizing for the kind of tangential discussion we're having here, but I want to give you a big picture. Today is just a big picture. But for those of you who are serious about being happy, then you got to be simultaneously serious about dealing with this anger, because you're not going to be happy and angry at the same time, nor are you going to be loving. Have you noticed? You can't be loving and angry simultaneously. That does not happen. You definitely will not be civil, right? The destructive impulses that anger produces in you shuts down all civility in you. So these nice, pretty, mild little women make one of them angry. You'll see what I'm talking about, okay? Yeah, they look pretty when they're, but wait till they get angry. Right? Them wigs come off. They take them shoes off. And you're in a world of trouble. Their voice go to baritone. But let's consider what the consequences for failure to manage our anger has at the level of your mind. We know what it's done to our body. You get a basic idea. Yes, sir. It makes you very impulsive at the level of the mind, right? So what that means is that the mind is no longer capable of rational thought. You become irrational. You lose the capacity for rational thought. You see? Anything you do at these upper registers of anger, mismanaged anger, the further you move up in that register, the more your mind shuts down, the more your mind loses its ability to think clearly, rationally, right? Absolutely right, young man. And you're reduced to pure impulses, instinct, and a violent instinct is that. You see, you drop from the prefrontal cortex, you see, drop down through the limbic, you back down here to our complex, first brain, right? Animal brain. And all you got on your mind at that time is revenge, hurting, killing. You follow me? And if you persist in that state of mind, you will kill somebody. You see? That's what the brain stem is all about, and you got a brain stem. Try to stay out of it, okay? What are some of the other effects that rage and anger and its other forms have on your mind? Can I have that water, please? I don't want your can because I don't know what's in there. You look pretty cool and calm, right? What are some of the other effects? Yeah, you can go into all of these dysfunctional states of mind that comes with a mind full of rage. Very paranoid, schizophrenic, you see, irrational, depressed, yes, right? But it's the paranoid effect of it. You see, persisting in it over and over and over again, you start developing what we call samskara. Samskara is a Hindu term, but I mean a deep impression. In the culture of psychiatry, we call those Ingrams. Ingrams. Deep grooves in the mind are made, right? And now you're so angry, now you're angry all the damn time. Have you seen anybody like that? Just all the time. Good morning. F you! Just say good morning. Angry all the time. Always perceiving victimization where there is none. Always perceiving aggression where there is none. Always angry. Paranoid. You see. Anger mess you up and mess you up big time. If you don't manage that stuff, you will become insane. So therapists in the audience know exactly what I'm talking about. You wanted to add something, brother? Please stand, beloved.
Can't see things as they really are happening. You see them simply through the eyes of something that's being done to you. Yeah, so you're not seeing people doing what they're actually doing or saying what they're actually. You're seeing them doing something to hurt you. You're hearing them say things to hurt you, even if that's not their intention. It's all about, it's now that are distorted. Everything is distorted. And somehow it's being twisted into things that are hurting me, therefore I need to defend myself and counterattack at all times. So everything is coming at me. Human nature, why does it rain? Why is God everything is distorted.
Yes, and that's exactly it. Anger, and let me put this up here while we're doing, because there's a whole category of emotions or strong feelings that require the same kind of vigilance and the same kind of management as anger. Anger certainly is the most destructive among them, but just for your edification, I'll list them. Anger, of course, then there's lust. You see, this impulse for self-gratification at the level of your senses. While everybody certainly pursues some level of gratification, pleasurization via the senses. We want to see something that looks good, taste something that tastes good, hear something that sounds good, etc. And that's normal. But when your lust takes over your mind, it shuts down your intelligence just like anger shuts it down. And then you are driven out of your lust. And you know when you've been a victim of your own lust because you will feel ashamed of yourself. You will shame yourself in your own eyes. And that becomes pathology in the long run. Are you feeling me? So maybe we'll do a workshop on managing and coping with lust, okay? But then there's greed. And I'm not going to go into these because all of these are interesting. Maybe one of the things we'll do, beloved, at some course in Karnak is we'll go deep into this. We'll really go Karnak. Because in Karnak, this is the curricula. It educates you about your body, mind, and soul. And remember, it doesn't matter how much you know about past history, quantum mechanics, mathematics, computers. If you don't know yourself, you are fundamentally ignorant. And that is why in ancient times, the sages and the sebas, the gurus, the teachers who were operating these temples in Karnak, Egypt, required that you have a certain amount of self-knowledge as a criteria to even be admitted into the mystery system. You get a brilliant scientific mind like a Pythagoras. Pythagoras made to wait 20 years. He couldn't even get in. 20 years. Said these Greeks are like children. Sit down here. You don't know anything. You see. This is sogai. This is deep knowledge. This is deep knowledge. You see, this is the knowledge that disappears your mediocrity and your superficiality. You follow what I'm saying? This is the knowledge that restores in you the ability to tolerate reality and see it as it is, because it keeps your mind from being clouded. In Hindu philosophy and psychology, we call them kleshas. Kleshas. Tormented states of mind. Have you noticed it? When you're angry, you're in torment, aren't you? It's tormenting, right? Right. That's a klesha. And in that tormented state of mind, you can't see reality as it really is. It's clouded. And since you can't see reality as it is, any act that you take out of that clouded state of mind will be wrong, will be inaccurate, will miss the mark, will be inappropriate for what reality is requiring of you in that moment. What the Greeks called sin. Missing the mark. That's what a sin is. When you're sinning out of a state of mind that is full of kleshas. Definitely. You can trace all sin to a mind full of one of these things. Greed, of course, and again, I'm not going to try to exhaust this here because we don't have a lot of time, and there's so much to say, but I wanted to put them up here while we're looking at the dangerous kinds of states of mind we're going to have to learn how to manage. So greed, you see, this chronic feeling of incompleteness. That's what greed is. Chronic feelings of not enoughness. You see, it's a psychological space where one falls when one has lost the ability to be content. The Buddhist psychologists call it the hell realm, because it's like being in hell. No matter how much food you eat, you're always feeling hungry. No matter how many pairs of shoes you got, no matter how many pairs of shoes you got, no matter how many pairs of shoes you got, you always need one more and a purse to go with it. That's how it is. It's called greed. That's not fashion, that's greed. Disguised as fashionable. I'm very fashionable. No, you're greedy. And then, of course, men, we have ours too, but it's too vulgar to even mention. But greed certainly is a kind of klesha that when the mind is under its domination, you're always tormented because you just never can get enough. And thus you have no experience of satisfaction. Can you imagine living a life driven out of greed, never being satisfied with nothing? That's hell, don't you think? But that's what greed does. It binds you, it enslaves you to that which you are pursuing. You see, it runs you. Then there's what we call attachment, and not so much in the psychological use of that word, but attachment in the sense, this tendency to cling to someone, something, some situation or circumstances on the basis of an infatuation with it. See, it is active infatuation, where infatuation is a foolish pursuit and passion to achieve that which is impossible. You see? So you're clinging to someone or something based on a fantasy about it. And you can't let them go because of that fantasy, that infatuation. And therefore you lose the ability to change. You see, you get stuck. Attachment is what prevents growth, personal and otherwise, because you're stuck, you're clinging. You see, you may even cling to something as ethereal as your own image of yourself. You're still trying to be the person you was in high school. You're 50 years old. Give that up, okay? Don't play no more basketball. You're going to kill your damn self, all right? Stop. You know? I sent Obama that information. I don't want him to drop dead, but you could cling to an image of yourself that you fabricated somewhere in high school that is no longer appropriate. You're a father now. You're not a playboy no more. You see, but you're clinging to that adolescent image that you created of yourself. Infatuated that you can be that at 50. The same way you were at 15. This is infatuation. That's an ambition that cannot be fulfilled. It goes counter to reality. And infatuation is the pursuit and the desire for that which does not exist, has no location in reality whatsoever, you see. It can be a goal in our relationships. You're looking for a perfect woman. You're infatuated with a myth that such a thing exists. There are none. Or vice versa. You're in search of the perfect man. That is also a myth. But you're infatuated with it. You know, you're still sort of operating out of the kind of puppy love state of mind that characterized young girls at the age of 10 or 11, you see? So you're working out of your puppy love state of mind, trying to get you a husband. That ain't gonna work. And that's gonna be a pressure. That's gonna be torment for you. You see, that's gonna lead to dissatisfaction, disappointment, what the Buddhists call dukkha. Dukkha. Profound dissatisfaction and disappointment. Suffering. And remember, suffering is not necessary in life. Pain, yes. Suffering is optional. Suffering is something you do based on how you respond to reality. Are you with me? You and I are not always in control of what happens to us, but you are in control, or should be in control, of how you react. You see, so what we've spent our lifetime doing, trying to control the objective reality, which is impossible. You're infatuated. You actually think you control the weather. You're crazy. You see my point? You think you could control your husband, your wife. You're crazy. That's crazy. You can't. That doesn't happen. That's objective reality. You have nothing to do with that. You're not running the world. Haven't you noticed? You're not in control. So you spend all your time trying to control that which you have no possibility of controlling, and failing to control the only thing you can, which is your reaction and response to reality. And the failure to respond to reality appropriately equals suffering, equals torment. Are you following me? Does that make sense to you? Okay. So attachment becomes the source of a lot of mental and emotional torment. Now when I say torment, I really mean torment. You know, Prozac torment, lithium torment, you know, drug taking levels of torment, alcohol drinking level of torment. You see, strip club levels of torment. Don't want to leave anybody out here. Workaholic level of torment. Because you'll work 5 jobs just to stay away from your torment. You see? Asdamo Sanintano. This is the truth. And then, of course, the boss of all of these is your ego. Ego. You see, all of these are possible because of it. All of these reflects your ego. All of these, this is the governor. You following? This is what's calling the shots. And it's fattening you up for the kill. Is that right? This ego, you see, this efforting, this constant efforting to maintain your image of yourself in your own eyes, an image that's not even real. You see? Completely fabricated, you see? The false sense of self. It's a false self. It's the you want to be, but that ain't the you really are. And so it becomes a negative ambition. You see, you're trying to be that which you are not. That's about as possible as an apple tree becoming a coconut tree. That don't happen in nature. Can you imagine a coconut tree saying, well, I'm tired of being a coconut tree, let me be an apple tree? You see, you invented a concept of how you want to be, and you got all confused in your infatuation with yourself. You follow me? And now you're trying to maintain this false image that you have created of yourself, which is a negative ambition. It's impossible to do. And you suffer as a result of that. So all of these are standalone workshops and series of classes in and of themselves. But that's what Karnak is about. We take our time. You see, you don't go to a level of pharaonic wisdom in a weekend. This is a lifetime. You see, this is for life. You know, this is not a flash. This is not a quick fix. This is not the normal thing that people in America are looking for. This is commitment. This is work. And developing your full human potential is the hardest thing that you will ever do in your lifetime. You see, trust me. Controlling your mind is the hardest task any human being can embark on. Nothing you will ever do in your life more difficult than that. And there's nothing you will do will be more satisfying and fulfilling than it either. So now back to our discussion about the impact that anger has on mind. Then we're going to move on here. Time has a way of slipping by when you're in Karnak. Soul. How many got souls? Or should I skip this? Y'all, all right. Well, one of the things that the failure to manage your anger always result in, with no exception, is what I call soulicide. You see, when you refuse to manage your anger, that's equivalent to committing soulicide, killing yourself at the level of your soul, putting a gun to your head and blowing your soul out. The soul, spirit, is a faculty, like intellect is a faculty. It has its functions. You see, there's certain human behavior that is a direct result of the presence of soul, the function of soul, the operating of your soul. For instance, beauty, the ability to see that which is beautiful. That's soul. Anger shuts that down. When you're angry at your wife, you don't see how pretty she is, do you? No. You could take the most beautiful woman in the world. I show you some man that don't want nothing to do with her because he's angry. You see my point? Tiger Woods got $1 billion. Wife didn't want no parts of him. Now that's something when a woman don't want a billionaire. What do you think? That's pretty angry, ain't it? That's angry.
Might be mad.
Might be mad. You shut down your capacity to have the experience of that which is beautiful. You see no sunsets, you see no sunrise. A walk along the beach has absolutely no impact on you. You feel no cool breezes. You hear no birds chirping. You see, you're not moved by the greenery of a tree. And as Oprah say, you walk right past the color purple. That's a sin, pisses God off. Soul shuts down. No experience of beauty is available to you in that state of mind. You can't see it. It clouds the mind. You can't see it. Your children, when you get angry, clouds it. You see? And that pretty little baby, that child that you were ready to die for, in the next minute, after they weigh some on your kitchen floor that you just I'll kill you! I thought he was so cute just 10 minutes ago. Where is this coming from? And some people who don't have any skill kills the child, beats them to death, or say something to them that'll break their heart. Are you with me? Wound them forever. You see, guarantee 25 years of therapy. You see, thank God for Obamacare. Otherwise, a lot of us going to be in some serious trouble, huh? But in any case, and I'm going to leave a little time, Janice, because this is just so much. And I know that today I'm not going to exhaust theory, but I got to say a little bit about the anger management process. If I don't get that done, then today has been in vain. So when anger takes over your mind, or takes over your being, more appropriately, at the level of soul, right? When your anger reaches that level, shuts down the experience of beauty. You just can't see nothing that is good. You can't see no goodness in nobody. You lose the ability to experience goodness. In that state of mind, people can be so kind to you, you can't even feel it. Have you noticed? Yeah. Too angry to even know when somebody's being good to you. You see? Too angry to even know when you're being loved. Too angry. Shuts down your ability to even experience being loved. And what's even more sad, it shuts down your ability to be loving. Lose that capacity. You see? Not loving. You see? Can't be good and can't feel no goodness. You see? Ugly and can't even see any beauty. Right? You destroy love, no compassion, all of these virtues that the soul makes us capable of animating, shuts down under the influence of this out of control anger. Do this make sense to you? No kindness in you, you see? You're not even human, technically, in that moment. So the question of being virtuous goes out the window. There's no argument, you see. And yet, what is life without this? You see. Life is about loving. That's bottom line. It's about the practice of loving. It's what makes us human. We have been endowed with the ability to do love, not just say it. We can certainly say it. We got a larynx. Animals can't even say it, I love you. We can say it, but we can also do it, and we can also live it. And if you really put your heart and soul into it, you can become the incarnation of it, you see? Such is the possibility of a human being. We're magnificent, but what makes us magnificent is this soul quality. And when you've lost the qualities of a soul, it's not even right to call you a human being at that point. Do this make sense to you? Serious business. So got to manage that stuff or you'll become heartless. And that's what a mind full of anger and rage does. It makes you heartless, right? without pity, without compassion. You don't give a damn about nobody. It's all me. Just me. Hard-hearted. You follow me? Cold. You see? No empathy for nobody else. You see? Cruel, bitter, cynical. You seen anybody, you know anybody like that? Well, tell them they better get in their tail in Karnak here while they got a chance. It's open enrollment this week. Get on in here. So you all getting the ideal now? Yeah. Yes. Do you think this task of anger management is an appropriate task of life? Yes. Right? It is the task of life. You see? All the other tasks of life can't be achieved unless you use this kind of skill that anger management results in. We talk about the task of love. You got to find somebody to love you. You angry. Who gonna love you? You're too angry for somebody to love. You follow me? That's not going to happen. But that's one of the tasks of life, the task of adult life. You got to work. You must make a living, right? But you too angry. You know, you can't work with nobody at work, so we got to fire you. Because you can't do no teamwork. You can't do what nobody tells you. Because people telling me stuff makes me angry. Well, shit, you ain't going to get no job. It's really that simple. Can't come up here and tell President Brooks what you going to teach, what you ain't going to teach when you feel like it. He's going to fire you. Don't care how many degrees you got. Right, Doc? That's right. Of course. So don't get it twisted. If you're like the rest of us, you're going to need some help. You're going to need to have people come to your aid and rescue. You're going to need to be able to solicit the kind of help and cooperation from other human beings to make it. Nobody makes it on their own down here. You see, that's one of the great damage that has occurred here in the West. We're bought into this psychology of radical independence. I don't need nobody. I can do my own thing. You do yours, I do mine. None of that is true. You see? It's not even true at the level of nature, right? Not only do we need one another, you need them trees, you need the water. This is a ecosystem. You follow me? Top to bottom. And you exist in it. You don't exist outside of nature. You are in nature. Ego is a kind of presumption that you exist outside of nature. That's what makes it a kind of illness, a mental illness. To walk around here thinking that you somehow exist outside of and independently of nature is to be certifiably insane. Don't you think? We need one another. There are needs that you have that you cannot get met with money. Impossible. You cannot get met with food. That's just bodily stuff. But you're more than this body. And those needs that in you, which is more than the body, have to have, those needs can only come through another human being. This is Sogai. See, a great civilization rises based on the mutual understanding of the interdependence of us all. Otherwise, there's no other basis for unity. Ancient people understood that, you see, particularly in Kemet, you see. This is reality, the reality. A lot of people are angry about the fact that they ain't gonna live forever. See, you're insulted by that reality. You follow me? You angry at existing for, gonna eliminate you. You don't like that, you see? And you're trying to avoid it. But you've been born. You're gonna die. That's the truth. That's reality. And before you die, if you're lucky, you'll get old, right? So you can save all that money you're spending on them cosmetics and stuff like that. Just bank that money. Put that in your 401k, because you're going to get old. You're going to get feeble in your body, feeble in your mind. Teeth going to fall out, hair fall out. Don't you see all these old people around here? What makes you think you ain't going to get old? You're infatuated with youth. It's an infatuation. That's all. And eventually you're going to get sick. And I mean sick. A sickness from which you will not recover. And then you're going to die. That's the existential reality that confronts all of us in our human condition. It's neither bad nor good. It simply is so. If you understand it, then it disappears mediocrity. It disappears superficiality. It makes you serious. It sobers you up. It gets that silliness out of you. It takes away this tendency to procrastinate, to waste time. You live, and you live more abundantly because you're aware that the human lifetime is a very transient affair. And you don't waste your life. You don't piss it away on nonsense. Feeling me? Yes. It's the task. Anger requires you at every level. You see? You're going to lose jobs. There ain't no sense in getting angry and go kill the boss. You know what I mean? Well, that's crazy, right? I lost the job. Bang, 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 bang. You're going to lose the job. Didn't you know that? You should have came to car knocks. Man, we're saving lives here, man. All right, now, with that said, let's kind of set up the discussion here to look at the process. The anger management process. In order to engage in the process, a few more things have to be said. And again, I apologize for shortchanging you on the theoretical aspects of anger management, the psychology and the psychotherapy, but I'll hopefully make that up for those of you who will come to the classes that we will be offering. Before we can appreciate or even engage in the anger management process, a few more things have to be understood. You have to look at why you're angry and who you're angry at. Okay, so let's start first with who you're angry at, and then we'll work backwards from there. So there's usually basically about 5 objects of anger, situations, circumstances where you'll be challenged to manage your anger. And the first one is our anger at others. Most of the people that come into therapy for mood disorder and so forth, most of their problem they present is that they're angry at the other. I'm angry at my mom, I'm angry at my daddy, I'm angry at this and that and that. Well, it's interesting. These others, and again, who are the others that we tend to be the most angry at? Family, right? Family members, like your what, husband or spouse. We should say spouse today, right? This is modern, right? Husband is a taboo. Okay, let's say spouse, right? Spouse, children. Who else goes on this other list? Who? Co-workers? Friends? Who? In general? Huh? Parents. Who else? Anybody else? Society? Government? Okay, I'm saving that for the crazy part of the program, okay? Right now I'm trying to stick with normal people, okay? I ain't trying to deal with blowing up no buildings and, okay. Siblings. Self, but we're going to get that later. But the others, because yourself is not another, right? Yourself is not another. Yourself is not another, okay? I'll get a special ed section in car now. All right. The others, and we should say, notice they are significant others. These are the others with whom you try to make a life. This is your life. Your life is made up of these others. Because these others are significant others.
Put teachers on there.
Teachers? Okay. You having a flashback? You retired now. It's okay, baby. You safe. Okay, teachers. I might as well put boss, right? All right, that's enough. You get an idea. Right. But it's definitely these key ones, you know. These are key. Because these become the source of love for you. These are the folk you turn to meet your psychological and emotional needs, you see. Your need for attention. See, you got to have you some attention. That's not optional. That's a need. You see, it's human. You must have it. People who don't get sufficient attention do not strive. They become very bitter. They become dysfunctional, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you got to get some attention. You got to have some kind of connection, some feeling of belonging. That's a need. Remember, a need, not optional. It's like water and food. This is not optional. You see, you need this. All of us do. You got to have a sense of safety. Safety and security. That comes in numbers, right? A dark alley, I ain't going down there, but Bilal and I, we hold hands, we can go. You see, because at a deep level, beneath the threshold of your conscious mind, we know deep down inside why people don't want to be lonely, why people don't want to be alone, why loneliness and being alone is a pleasure, it's a tormenting state of mind, because deep down inside you know alone I'm not safe. You know, I need me a man. I need me a woman. That's right, you do. Don't be ashamed. You know, it's neurologically necessary in order to reduce your level of fear and anxiety. You take away my anxiety. You see, another human being reduces that because I'm not alone. I won't grow old by myself. You see my point? When I enter old age, I have somebody to share my... You see, the fear of this age is the fear of being alone forever. Because when culture break down, relationships break down. In fact, it should be the reverse. Relationship break down, then culture break down. That's the etiology. So you need a safety and security that you get from these people, right? We need a certain amount of power, see? And sometimes if I want to lift this table, I don't have enough power to do so. I need this guy to give me, well, maybe not him, he's skinny. This guy like him, he's a Jamaican. You know, Jamaicans are strong. Have you ever know? Man, them brothers strong. They can work 4 jobs, you see, and get in a part-time job. So I have to get somebody to help increase my power. You follow what I'm saying? Because I need a certain amount of power, and I may not individually have enough, hence the need for these folks. You know, a better example is money, right? A lot of time we don't have enough money, right? So you go get married, right? So you have more money, more money, more money, more money, right? And if you mess up, you will have no money, no money, no money, no money. You understand what I'm saying? To increase power, the ability to influence and control our environment, right? We need power for that. We need energy for that. And money is just energy. You all know that if you take an economic theory. It's not paper, it's energy. Okay, now, it is these significant others, however, that we tend to be angry at the most and the most frequently. That's because of this intimacy. These are intimate relationships, you see. A stranger in the elevator with me could do some, not going to bother me too much, because 3 seconds we'll be gone. You see? But when you come home to that same man, woman, and children every day, you're going to be more challenged to deal with the conflict. Conflict that is inherent in human relationship. Make a note. Conflict is inherent in human relationship. There's no such thing as a conflict-free relationship. That's a myth. Does not exist. Bound to be some conflict. Hence the necessity for the ability to resolve it. When person A meet person B, they're just not meeting at the level of the body, they meet at the level of their past conditioning. It's conditioning that's coming together through these bodies. States of mind, paradigms, philosophies, value, belief, religion. There's bound to be a clash because you unique, come together, there's going to be some clash. Fine, no problem. You see? And you've been given those parts of the brain and faculty to resolve conflict. You follow me? But if there's not this knowledge of how to resolve conflict, then it just all hell breaks loose. And that's reflected even in our data, right? 65% or so of all homicides occur within the context of these kind of relationships. You feel like killing your husband a lot more frequently than you feel like killing anybody else. Is that about right? Where the wives at? Don't you almost every other day feel like killing who? Your husband, or your kids, or your sister, or somebody. You're going to kill somebody, the dog, parrot, kid. Some in this house you will feel like killing. Right. And if you let that anger move up that chain reaction to rage, that's what actually happens. You wind up killing one of your significant others. This gets deep. This gets very deep. So I want you to begin to understand now the urgency and the necessity for being able to control that anger, because the consequences for failure can have a direct impact on the very people that you love and make love possible to you, right? Because that guy in the elevator ain't going to love you. One going to love you probably somewhere here. You follow what I'm saying? This is your bread and butter. You see? This is what keeps you from committing suicide, these folks, right? And if you mess around with your anger, either you will hurt them or the relationship will become strained. You see, estrangement occurs here. Now you become estranged from your children. You're in trouble. Instead of them being a blessing now, they're going to be hell. You understand what I'm saying? It's going to become adversarial in what should have been a very natural relationship, right? Instead of them coming toward you, they're going to move away from you. They're not going to show up on Mother's Day, and they surely is not going to show up in the hospital when you're on your deathbed. That ain't happening. You follow me? You let your anger destroy. Anger destroys relationships. Make a note of that. Because that's what anger is purpose to do, isn't it? Mm-hmm. To destroy. So if I'm angry at my wife, that's what you feel like doing. Destroying, hurting, right? A mind full of anger is a hostile mind, you see? So with that said, and again, I think you all getting the point. And so I want to talk a little bit about the anger management process now that we understand the urgency for it. Okay, there's a second object that, well, I'm going to put all the 5 objects up here, but we're not going to talk about them. We're going to do that through the series, but I'll put them up here while you're here. Because they tell me that this the weekend, and your chance of getting killed this weekend is going to be a lot greater if you go home. How many going home from here? Y'all might want to, man, y'all might want to think that over. So I might not see you again. So let me get these rest of these objects up here, all right? The second one is to others anger at who? At us. Because other people get angry at you. Didn't you know that? Yeah, they get angry at you. You're not perfect. You're not flawless. You got your imperfections, shortcomings, and faults. Why does it strike you as so odd that those imperfections, shortcomings, and faults will not result in someone having a grievance against you? But if you got a lot of ego, you see, you're not going to be able to handle other people angry at you. You're going to ignore it, dismiss it. Are you with me? You're going to defend your imaginary perfection. Are you crazy? You think you ain't never did anything to somebody, especially one of these people, that was not inappropriate? You see? Insane, out of touch with reality. And this person is angry at you. So while you telling them to kiss your butt and you don't, and all of that, ignoring it, you think the anger is going up or down? Right. And if you keep ignoring it, right, keep defending your imaginary innocence and perfection, is it going to keep going up? And what happens when it hits rage level?
They're gonna kill you.
You say that again. Huh?
They're gonna kill you.
They're going to kill you. And that's what the statistics show. That angry wife you've been ignoring, keep on. You're going to lose more than a nice Saturday night evening. You see, you might start with that, but you putting your life in your hands here. You all getting the point? This is very critical to learn how to become competent in managing other people's anger at us, because other people are going to get angry at you. You're not perfect. Get down out of your ego. See, that's that ego. It blinds you. Your ego clouds your vision, not of just objective reality, even of your own subjective reality. You can't see yourself as you really are, because you're trying to figure out why nobody won't marry you. Don't you think there's a reason for that? Where's the mystery? Ain't no mystery here. You only are suffering from a mystery because you've been hiding truth about yourself from yourself, operating out of your vanity, your egotism. You see? And you didn't realize that you weren't all that in a bag of chips. You see? You're deluded. Ego deludes you. Ego causes you to cling to beliefs about yourself in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Yet you cling to it. It ain't true. I'm going to get to you in 1 minute. Let me get these up here. Where's the clock at? Oh, I'm going to rush a little bit more. 3, anger itself. This is a big one. Because you know how other people hurt you, right? But most people don't know how they hurt themselves. You see, we hurt ourselves a lot more than other people hurt us. This is truth. And when we realize what we done did to ourselves, we want to punish ourselves. Are you with me? I yield to an impulse on that sunny day, decided I'm going to skip work, you know what I mean? Go hang out with the fellas or the girls, you see. Little thing in your head said, you better go to work, you know what I mean? This is a new job, you just got this job, but did you listen to the little wisdom in your head? No. You follow your lust. And you skip work, showed up the next day, and you got a pink slip, you fired. Damn! Now you can't pay your rent, can't buy nothing to eat. You don't put yourself in a real dilemma. And you can't get angry at nobody but yourself. You see? And then that anger itself fulfills the purpose of anger. You start becoming self-destructive. This is Sogai. You start punishing yourself at a very unconscious level. It gets deep. You don't care what happened to you. You get depressed. That's what depression is. The failure to manage anger at yourself. That always leads to depression. And if you don't give yourself relief from that anger at yourself, you'll commit suicide. And suicide is an act of anger. Don't get it twisted. Suicide is an act of anger. Anger at life. You know what I mean? You're blaming life for your own mistakes. You follow me? Very twisted. Then there's residual anger, anger from the past. Still angry at your mama because she didn't give you them PF flyers when you were 12. You know what I mean? That crazy stuff. 30 years ago, you still, if mama had given me this, I wouldn't be in this situation. I would have made it into NBA. I mean, just crazy stuff, you know. Still angry at your brother for a fight over a popsicle that took place 50 years ago. I mean, it's residual anger. You know, angry at your third husband who left you 15 years ago. You see? Man ain't even in your life no more. You clinging to your resentment of having been wronged by this man 20 years ago, hence depriving yourself of the ability to be happy right now. You see? Right here, right now. And then, of course, there's that abstract anger. That's that anger at the government that the brother was talking about before. Abstract. You see? You're angry at all blacks, all whites, all Jews. You're angry at the government. You're angry at this religion, that religion. Let's blow them up. Let's kill them. You see sexism, speciesism, racism, all of these kinds of rage. It's not aimed at anybody in particular. You know what I mean? You know, we just hang anybody. You good, you black, oh, let's hang them. You know what I mean? It ain't personal. It's non-personal rage. Anybody will do. Just anybody, you see. So these are the other remaining objects. Now let's get to this one here, all right? So I think we all understand here that it is critical for us to manage our anger at these significant others because they are the source of our nurture. They are the folk that we're making life out of. They are the ones we turn to for sustenance, both material and non-material, and et cetera, all right? And if we don't manage our anger at these others, we're going to be destroyed. So here's the anger management process, a little bit of it at least. Ready? Okay. So when you feel anger arising in your mind, and you do feel it, I mean, your consciousness, you're conscious enough to know when you get angry? Because if you, yes. All right, good. Thank God. Because if y'all unconscious, there ain't no hope here, right? But when you feel, because you can feel it, when you feel yourself becoming angry, when anger arises in your mind, you see, and you know when anger arises in your mind because your mind becomes full of unwholesome thoughts and feeling toward these others. You know, these same others. Keep that in your mind. These same others, all of those people were there. Your mind becomes full of unwholesome thoughts toward these people. You see, ill will. You see, you got some ill will toward them. You're not wishing good things for them. I wish he were dead. You know what I mean? I wish I had never married him. You know, it's ill will. Thoughts of ill will, you see. Hostility. There's a lot of hostility in your mind toward that person. You want to hurt them. That's what anger makes you feel like doing, right? See? You want to punish them. You want revenge. What are some of the other feelings that you will be able to find in a mind full of rage?
Disrespect.
Sure, there's going to be tons of disrespect. That goes with the ill will, right? There ain't going to be no respect going on here, right? You ain't going to give a damn about them, right? What else? What else? What are some of the other impulses, thoughts, and feelings? Resentment. Yeah, that's another euphemism for anger, of course. Resentment. Let's see. What else?
Contempt.
Oh, who said that?
Contempt.
Good. Contempt. Yeah, contempt. You don't even want to look at them. Don't look at me. Don't say nothing to me. Right? Contempt. You know what I mean? Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Serious contempt, right? Is there a little violence in your mind? Sure it is. Is there a little vindictiveness in your mind? Yes, sirree. Is there a grudge in there? Yep. You see? What else? Jealousy. That depends on the circumstances. But certainly, these are unwholesome thoughts, feelings, and impulses aimed toward these significant others in your life. Are you with me now? Keep that in mind. It's very important, right? That way, this don't result in just an academic discussion here. I'm talking about a matter of love and happiness, you know, a quality of life here. And so these are unwholesome thoughts that you have noticed have arisen in your mind, right? Feelings toward the ones that makes up your life, the ones you love. Seeing that, you know, step one is to replace these thoughts from your mind with their opposite. This is a spiritual technique. Now, I start with the most effective, then we're going to walk down. Because you can't do this unless you have attained a certain level of spiritual development, right? But since I don't know who is and who is not attained here, I start with the number one, okay? That's the spiritual technology for freeing your mind from all of these kinds of evil, negative feeling towards the very people you profess to love. You see, you replace it, those thoughts. So you see them differently. You see, you relook, you respect. Respect means see. You re-see it. All right, that's what respect means. To receive, right? To reframe it. Right? And then you see, you're angry at your spouse because she didn't do something that you wanted her to do. Because that's usually why you get angry, right? Have you noticed? Yeah. You get angry whenever somebody don't do what you want, basically, right? When something don't go the way you like, you get angry, right? That's right. Basically it. We can dress it all up with logic and give all kind of rational argument for it, but fundamentally what's going on is that whenever something don't go the way you like or the way you want, you get angry. That holds true for how other people you're in relationship with behave. When your wife or husband don't act the way you want them to act, you get angry. You see. And your mind fills up with this. But if you're spiritual enough, you can change all those thoughts with insight. You can see. You have insight. And you can see that your wife or your husband is not a monster because they don't do what you want. You follow what I mean? How that make somebody a monster because they don't do what you want? I mean, really? What kind of reference or what kind of basis are you making such a decision? Just because though nobody do what I want, that person ain't worth a dime. What is that? That is ignorance par excellence, isn't it? Here's the fallacy. It's because you think that what you like is right. That's been your fundamental presumption. What you like is not equal to being right. Please make a note. Because you like it does not make it right. You know what kind of things people like? Huh?
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Some people like killing. They enjoy it. Masochists, sociopaths, they enjoy killing. We grew up with a little boy on the block, what was his name, Red? Skimbo. Used to break cats, kidding. We'd go find cats in the alley, little kid. You know how beloved them was as little boys. Searching out cats and things, right? And Skimbo would find a cat and a kid, snap it, break his spine. He became a police, I understand, a good one. But you get my point? Some people enjoy causing other people pain. And just because they like that, that don't make that right. But if we are operating out of the mentality of a child, that's how children think. But that simply speaks to your own arrested development. If you're still walking around here and you basing what is right and wrong based on what you like and dislike, something in you fundamentally has not grown up. You see? And part of the task that Karnak is to help one another grow up. Because we all need some growing up. So, not dishing anybody, we're here to help one another, you see. When you have insight into the way it really is, then you understand that. And then you can reverse that. You can also see that this person, my husband, my wife, my child, my friend, whoever, they're suffering. How can you get angry at somebody for suffering? They're suffering, they're unhappy. That's what anger usually represents, is an instance of profound dissatisfaction. These people are suffering. They don't need me to give them all of this. They're already suffering enough. Are you with me? You can replace your ill will with compassion. You see, compassion. So, again, the step one is to, upon recognition that your mind is now full of all of these negative thoughts and feelings toward others that make up your significant other, recognizing it, you simply replace them. You see, the fundamental antidote to anger is compassion. You follow me? And that compassion reverses all of this. You see? It reverses all of this. You see? Now, however, if after trying to do this, to replace these unwholesome, reprehensible thoughts toward the ones you love with their opposite, if after making an effort to do that, that anger and ill will and all that still persists, then you know the spiritual technique, that's not for you, okay? You can't do that. You're not spiritual enough to do that. Don't freak out. There's still hope, okay? That'll take you into step 2 of the anger management process. Step 2 is this. When you recognize that your mind is full of these thoughts of ill will and hostility and revenge and impulse to hurt someone in your significant other category, when you notice that your mind is full of that, see the danger of it. All right? You don't have spiritual insight to see that's just another human being trying to be happy, just like me, suffering. I don't need to put no more suffering. You see, if you can't create bodhicitta, as the Buddhists call it, bodhicitta, it means filling your mind with compassion for others. You know, because if you can't feel compassion for the people you with, who you kidding here? Who you kidding? You can't love the one you with. You're not going to love humanity. You follow what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. You see? But the ability to to operate with a mind full of bodhicitta, you see, that's a spiritual thing. You see? It's what gives you the ability to forgive. Again, back to step 1 just a little bit, because, again, there's so much more to say about it, but step 1 essentially consists of using your spiritual ability to forgive those who trespass against you. But most of us are not spiritually evolved enough to rightly understand the function of forgiveness. And we confuse forgiveness with condoning what somebody's done. Well, forgiveness is not condoning what nobody done. You see, it's not legitimatizing it. It's simply recognizing that I forgive the other as a means of getting this stuff out of my mind. Because I ain't going to be laying up here at night obsessing about how to poison you and so forth and so on. You saw what I'm saying? And when I'm in a state of anger, right, do I feel good? No. It's my anger. This is my body, mind. I ain't messing this thing up. You follow what I'm saying? I forgive the other for their trespasses against me as an act in my own behalf. You see? It's very different. So most of us never use our capacity to forgive, simply because we have not even cultivated that level of spiritual development in ourselves. Forgiving others is the last thing on my mind when I'm angry, right? First thing is get even, hurt them, not forgive them. Well, that's just a sign of a lack of spiritual development. But it's okay, you see. There is the step 2. You see, the step 2 is to see the danger. You see, notice the only difference between danger and anger is this one letter. This is the dangerous state of mind that I'm in. Now, this is dangerous. Abiding in, persisting in this state of mind, 6 minutes later, I'm messing my body up. I'm going up in the wrong direction. I keep ruminating, playing over and over again how wrong they were and how they shouldn't have did this. And I hate them for that. And blah, blah. I keep ruminating on that. That's sending me up to this level of rage, right? This is a dangerous state of mind that I've fallen into, right? Seeing that dangerous, you drop this anger. You follow me? Now, you may not be spiritual enough to drop it simply on the face of its inappropriateness, but you drop it as an act in your own best interest, because this is dangerous here. I'm about to catch a case here. You follow what I'm saying? This is dangerous because I'm so mad at this woman, I'm about to leave her, you see? And I'm going to lose half of my 401k. Right? And I'm going to lose custody of my kids, right? This is dangerous here. I'm angry at this woman, and if she don't shut her mouth, I'm about to knock them teeth out of it, and then I'm going to jail. You understand? This is a dangerous state of mind I'm in. You see? This is dangerous, right? I'm angry at that baby, that child, and I'm about to say something to this kid. You know what I mean? That's going to break their heart, you see, right? I'm angry at my man, and I'm about to say something that's going to offend his manhood so deeply, he's gone. You follow what I'm saying? And he ain't never going to come back. And I didn't mean to say it. You know what I mean? I mean, this is dangerous to walk around with a mind full of this stuff. Do you agree? Yes. Seeing that, you don't do that, you see? But I'm talking about really seeing it, not philosophizing it, not theorizing it, seeing it. Clearly, as clearly as you see the color of this board, clear. This is dangerous. It's like driving on the expressway and you notice your red light going, the engine that's going on, the car starts smoking, some flames shooting out of the hood. You understand, this is dangerous now, right? I gotta get off this road, right? It ain't no, well, is it dangerous or is it not dangerous? You know what I mean? It's none of that kind of thing going on. It's a direct response to the perception. This is dangerous. Now, this is the dangerous state of mind I'm in. And you don't do that which is dangerous to you. That's step 2, okay? Now, some folk can do that. Some folk can't see the danger. You follow what I'm saying? They're too fused, they're too deep into it. They done went too far up that escalation there, right? And they can't, for the life of them, see the danger of what they're doing, and then restore their mind into a state of peace and equanimity as a result of having saw that danger. They can't do that. They don't have that kind of awareness. Their self-awareness is not very well developed, you see? Is there any hope for them? Yes. But I don't think we got time to help them today. So with that said, let me leave the, there's 3 more steps. If you come to the series, we'll go through them, okay? Again, but there are some steps beneath that. We just didn't have enough time today. So I apologize for that, but I want to stay on schedule. I know you folks got things to do. So we can have about maybe 5 minutes of Q&A, Doc, and then we'll end for the day. Yes, beloved?
Okay, I had a question. What if you have an individual that's looked past all of that, and they went straight to the rage stage, and they killed several individuals, and they come back? Can they come back from that?
Well,
Can they be restored just like
it depends on the individual. You know, it's hard to say one way or the other, but sinners can become saints. Why not? Saints can also become sinners. So it's very hard to predict anything about a human being. Milarepa, who became one of the most famous and influential Buddhist teacher in China and Tibet, was a black sorcerer, you know what I mean? Doing all kinds of evil things to people. Paul, before he became St. Paul, was Saul, killing the very people that he gave his life to save. So you can't say, you can't say. Have you killed anybody? Huh? All right, then don't worry about it.
No, but I know somebody who has, and
Right.
they like continue to like beat themselves up. They don't feel
Yeah, that's anger at themselves. And that's what you see in a prison. That when you go into prison, a lot of people in prison because